heard a joke that there was once a barber, a hairdresser, how do you call it, for men, and the President of the United States walks into his shop. What are you doing here, Mr. President? He's like, well, I need a haircut. Okay, so he sits down, he gives him a haircut. Comes the end of the haircut, the President pulls out his wallet. He's like, how much do I owe you? He's like, come on, sir. I think I'm going to charge the President of the United States to get a haircut. It's free. I'm so proud of all the hard work that you do, and I love the American country and the nation and blah, blah, blah. And it's okay, you don't have to pay anything. Okay, the next day, the barber comes to the store, and he finds this huge bouquet of flowers next to the door. Thank you for your assistance and so forth. Okay. Weeks pass, and the President of the UK walks in. Wow, what are you doing here? Well, I need to get a haircut. So he gives him a haircut. Comes the end of the haircut, he pulls out his wallet. He's like, how much do I owe you? He's like, you're joking me? The President of the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom. I love the British people. I love what you do. I'll never charge you anything, and it's totally free. You're good to go. The next day he comes to the store. He sees a beautiful box of chocolates and thank you note. Thank you for your help and your assistance. Weeks pass, and the Prime Minister of Israel walks into his store. Wow, Prime Minister of Israel, what are you doing here? Well, I need a haircut. Same story, he cuts his hair, pulls out the wallet. How much do I owe you? He's like, come on, I think I'm going to charge you money. Prime Minister of the nation of Israel, the land of Israel, of course, I will never charge you anything. And okay, so he leaves. The next day he comes to open the store. He finds 120 MKs standing outside. So Israelis don't like the Jews. Don't like paying. I don't know if you noticed, but the Jews are known to like, how can I get something for free? Where do I get it half price? How can you give me something as a present? You know the joke with the tablets, that when Hashem wanted to give the 10 Commandments, he came to all the nations. And he came to the first nation. I'm not going to start talking Lashon Hara about nations now, but he came to the first nation and says, do you want the 10 Commandments? He's like, what does it say there? Well, it says you cannot kill. No, that's not for us. So he went to the next nation. You want the 10 Commandments. What does it say there? Where you cannot commit adultery. Well, that's not for us. We don't want it. And he came to the Jews. You want the 10 Commandments? They're like, how much does it cost? So he said, it's for free. Well, give us 2. So I remember once we were in a lecture, and we have these charity boxes. So when we go to lectures, when I go on tours, then there's always a table outside. Sippy knows that. There's CDs, the books, and we give out the charity boxes. One time I was somewhere, and we told somebody, here, take a charity box. No, it's okay. So the person says, take it, it's for free. So he says, okay, give me 2, I'll give one to my brother. So unfortunately, we don't like paying. And we're always looking for a deal, and we're always looking for something for free. But in this parasha, we're in Parashat Chayei Sarah, we read that Avraham Avinu demanded to pay for Ma'arat Hamachpela. It was given for free. When he went to Bnei Chet, he told them, I want that little piece of land. No problem. You? Of course. Take whatever you want here. No. I want to pay. No. Bnei Chet says, no, we want to give it for you for free. You, such a celebrity, Avraham Avinu, coming to our neighborhood, you can take it for free. And Avraham Avinu says, no. I demand to pay for the Ma'arat Hamachpela, for the burial place, and not only that he pays outrageously, not even connected to market value. So today we're going to learn the importance of why we pay for things, but more than just the importance of why we pay for things, is what's the spiritual significance of me paying for something. And there's much more to it. After all, if you look at the weekly parasha, the Torah goes out of its way to talk about the entire negotiation of the purchasing of this deal. The Torah could have just said Avraham Avinu wanted to bury Sara and he bought Ma'arat Hamachpela. End of story. Look how much lines, how much time the Torah is going out of its way to tell us that Avraham Avinu went out of his way, there was a negotiation and the transaction. Now obviously there's a spiritual and a physical significance to that. And B'ezrat Hashem, if the Torah takes its time to tell us about it, there's obviously something to it. So today, B'ezrat Hashem, I want to focus on the importance of why we pay, what's the significance of paying, and what we can take from that. So the story goes that Avraham Avinu comes back from the Akedah. That's how we finished last week's Parasha. And needless to say, the big thing, Avraham Avinu is taking a Yitzchak, going to the Akedah. And this is after a long list of challenges and tests that the Kadosh Baruch Hu is testing Avraham Avinu. Last week we talked about it, how the two parashot are attached to each other, and you see all the challenges and the tests of Avraham Avinu. And now finally we read the last test that Avraham Avinu is requested to take his son and go and sacrifice him. And on the way back, the Satan, the devil, was very unhappy with the success of this test, because the Satan was the one who instigated. That's why he says, "Vayhi achar hadvarim haele." After this conversation, which conversation? What conversation is the Torah is talking about? I mean, we read this every day when we pray. This should be pretty solid and clear in your mind. Every day we read Parashat Akedah. It says, "Vayhi achar hadvarim haele," and it was after this conversation. Who had a conversation? The conversation was between the devil, between the Satan and Hashem. And Hashem was bragging in Shamayim, "Look at my son Avraham Avinu, everything that I tell him, he does. This is unbelievable." So the Satan says, "Oh yeah? I bet you that if you ask him to sacrifice his son, he's not going to do that." And Hashem says, "Oh yeah? You want to put your money where your mouth is? Let's put a bet. Let's see, I guarantee to you that Avraham Avinu is going to do it." And the Satan says, "Oh yeah, I put all my money on that." And they had a conversation, and right after that conversation, "Vayhi achar hadvarim haele," and right after this conversation, "Va'elokim nisa et Avraham," and Hashem said, "Now I'm going to test Avraham," the ultimate test. The Satan was very unhappy. He lost the bet. He was very unhappy with the outcome, that Avraham Avinu, not only that he went there gladly, willingly, and with a lot of energy, a lot of excitement. So what did the Satan do? He goes to Sara. He dresses himself as an old man, knocks on the door. "Hi, where's Avi?" "Avi? Well, I don't know. He took Yitzchak and he went somewhere." And the Satan is telling Sarah, "What, you're not reading the news? You don't have WhatsApp? What's going on with you? You're not connected to the world? You don't have a Facebook account? Don't you read what's going on? You're living in some dark ages. You're telling me my husband went somewhere with my son? Your husband went to slaughter Yitzchak." What? Sarah hears the news. She can't contain such a message and she dies. So the Satan was very unhappy with the success of Avraham Avinu, so he had to be, as usual, a party pooper. And he goes and he gives this news to Sarah, and Sarah unfortunately can't handle it and she dies. Avraham Avinu comes back and he hears the news. Right away, he needs to, let me find out where I'm going to bury her. After he buries her, he says his famous eulogy. We spoke about it last year, the eulogy that is called Eshet Chayil. Many people think that it's Shlomo HaMelech that compiled it. It's actually Avraham Avinu. Avraham Avinu sang Eshet Chayil to Sarah. Later on, Shlomo HaMelech took the eulogy of Eshet Chayil and he added it into the book of Mishlei. But nevertheless, this is the eulogy that Avraham Avinu wrote about Sarah. And there's a midrash that explains every line. How is that connected to Sarah Imenu? If you remember last year, we learned about it in Parashat Chayei Sarah, where I explained some of the lines. How is that connected to Sarah? But nevertheless, Avraham Avinu goes and he looks for a place to bury Sarah. And Avraham Avinu found Ma'arat Hamachpela by chance. It wasn't planned. Nobody knew where Adam and Chava buried. And this was not only that Adam and Chava buried there, also Avraham and Sara buried there, and Yitzchak and Rivka, and later on Yaakov and Leah. But nobody knew where it is. There wasn't any sign. But Avraham Avinu found about it in a very odd way. How did Avraham Avinu found about Ma'arat Hamachpela? Last week, if you remember, there were 3 angels that came to visit Avraham Avinu in Parashat Vayera. Avraham Avinu went out of his way to make sure that they have a good meal. He goes to the backyard to the cattle and he wants to slaughter 3 bulls. So each one can be served a tongue mixed with some great gravy of mustard. So he takes the first bull, the second bull, the third bull runs away. So Avraham Avinu starts running after the bull. Now bear in mind, that's a 100-year-old man after a circumcision. So he's running after the bull and he's running and running and running. And the bull goes into this area of where Ma'arat Hamachpela here, Sde Ephron, and the bull leads him, and Avraham Avinu suddenly walks into this magical place, and he starts smelling, wow, what's the scent? The Midrash says that he smelled the smell of Gan Eden, and he walked in, and he sees in the cave, he sees the souls of Adam and Chava, surrounded with angels, surrounded with beautiful light, and he's like, wow, that's where they're buried. So Avraham Avinu was like, I want this place. Why would he choose such a place? Because he found out that this is where Ma'arat Hamachpela is. So beautiful, there's a beautiful midrash that explains how it all happened and how he walked in there and he smelled the scent of Gan Eden. But nevertheless, now Avraham Avinu has his eye on that piece of property. Now Avraham Avinu is a businessman. People think, you say Avraham Avinu, imagine this old man with a cane, with a long beard. Avraham Avinu was a tycoon. He had a lot of business. Especially in the real estate. He had a lot of hotels. He owned the Hilton and the Ritz-Carlton and many others. He was the founder of Airbnb. So, but nevertheless, Avraham Avinu had a good sense of business and he had his eye on this piece of property. So what does he do? He goes to the sons of Chet. Chet was the owner of the property. And he tells them, I like that piece of property, but just that corner in the end. So he wasn't the owner. The way it worked in the olden days, that the mayor, who was Ephron at the time, he owned the land. You had to get permission from the mayor. It's not like today. But nevertheless, he didn't want to go directly to Ephron because he said Ephron will notice that I want this piece of property. And he knows I have a lot of money and he will play hard to get. He will not give me the property. Maybe he will make a high price. Maybe he will negotiate with me. So he goes to Bnei Chet and tells them, you're neighbors with him, you go and talk to him and just tell him that I want this piece of property. Okay, they go to Ephron, and Ephron is the mayor, so to say, at the area, and he says to Avraham, of course you can take it, no problem. It's on the house. You take it, enjoy it. And Avraham Avinu says, no. I appreciate the offer, but I'm paying. How much do you want? Ephron says, there's no price. Whatever you want. Whatever you have, you put it on the table. Avraham Avinu evaluated it as 400 shekel. This is not the 400 shekel that we have today. This is what's called old shekalim, but nevertheless, the Gemara says he gave him big shekalim. What does it mean, big shekalim? Money that can easily be sold, not something that is not liquefied. Avraham Avinu, so to say, came with cash. Avraham Avinu decides, he gives him 400 shekel, and Avraham Avinu is demanding, I am paying. Now comes the great question. Why is Avraham Avinu so into the paying? In Hebrew they say, Notnim lecha tikach. Somebody gives you, take it. In Hebrew there's a saying that says, Notnim lecha tikach, marbitzim lecha tivrach. Somebody gives you, take. Somebody hits you, run away. But the Israeli motto, somebody gives you, take. Take 2 if you can. But why is Avraham Avinu so determined to pay? There is a beautiful interpretation that, regardless to the reason why Avraham Avinu wanted to buy this land, we have to understand what was his desire to buy specifically this piece of land. There is a commentary by a rabbi who lived about 200 plus years ago. He's known as Yechezkel Landa. And there's actually a lot of people in this generation that are direct descendants of him. There's Lando and Landa. But nevertheless, he's Landa. He's known as the Noda Yehuda. A very big commentary in Halacha. Nevertheless, he says, why does the Torah says that Avraham came to do a eulogy, a hesped? Ba lispod le Sara. Why is it says it ba lispod le Sara? We know who he's saying the eulogy to. It's his wife. Why does the Torah say the word Sarah? I mean, the words in the Torah are calculated. There's no word by mistake. The Torah says that Avraham Avinu came to eulogize Sarah. Should say Avraham came to lispod. Why do you add the name Sarah as a who? It says that Avraham Avinu was so impressed by the midot of Sara Imenu that he didn't come to. Usually, when you do a eulogy, you say that person built buildings and built yeshivot and he did this. Avraham Avinu in the eulogy was talking only about the midot of Sara Imenu. She was so refined that that's what he eulogized her for. And that's kind of going to explain to us why Avraham Avinu was so particular about buying this piece of land. Now, comes of course another question. Why is the Torah going in length to this whole business transaction? Like I said before, he could have said Avraham Avinu came, he wanted to bury Sarah, he bought Ma'arat Hamachpela. End of story. Look at how much length the Torah is going into the business transaction. Like I said, just say he bought the plot. End of story. So, if you're looking at it in a very external way or very broad way, the Torah is teaching us how to do business. Because we all need business. We have to work. I mean, this is Adam HaRishon was kicked from Gan Eden, and he says, "V'zad apecha tuchal lachem." You're going to have to work all your life. So the Torah is coming to teach me, how to do business. Go know how you have to learn how to negotiate, how to invest, how to buy, how to sell. But really, okay, that will be applied for a few people. They want to buy real estate. Why is it so important? Why does the Torah really want to teach me how to negotiate in a deal? And why is the Torah putting so much emphasis of the transaction? Why? What is it good for? What does it do to me? So there is a midrash that explains specifically on that, and it says that we all possess a soul, of course. And the soul is divided into many different categories, let's put it this way. The lowest of all is called a nefesh. The nefesh is the lowest of all 5 levels of the soul, and it's a very vital part of the body. And the soul is impressed by what's going on to the body, and I can't do anything without this part of the soul. And again, I'm talking about the nefesh, not the neshama. The neshama is a much higher level of the soul. The nefesh is really a part of the body. Now, the nefesh has certain powers. And the teachings of Kabbalah and Hasidic philosophy calls it the 10 powers of the nefesh. Eser kochot ha-nefesh. But nevertheless, the nefesh has certain spiritual powers. And what I go through in my life affects the nefesh. If I'm depressed, the nefesh gets affected from that. If I'm happy, if I'm excited, the nefesh will get affected. And vice versa. If the nefesh is overwhelmed, then the body will be overwhelmed. If the nefesh is under stress or in fear, then the body will experience fear and stress. They go hand to hand. It's like a deal that you can't separate the body and the nefesh. Once the nefesh leaves the body, then the person dies. Then the body can't live without the nefesh. Now the Midrash says, why is the Torah so particular about this business deal? Let's go back and look at what Avraham Avinu had to go through. Now we're looking at Avraham Avinu, we imagine a great tzaddik, but did you read the last 2 parashot, what he had to go through? We just got to meet him when he's 75 years old. But where was he for 75 years old? What did he go through? And even when we meet him when he's 75 years old, what did he have to go through? He had to leave his town, go to Mitzrayim. Sarah was taken hostage. We talked about it already last week. There's no point of repeating it. How much tests, how much challenges, how much disappointments, what he had to go through. He didn't have a child. Then finally he has a child. Then I'm talking about Ishmael, not Yitzchak. Then Sarah says, get rid of this guy. And look how much challenges. And then he finally has a child, Yitzchak. Then go and slaughter him. Avraham Avinu goes through so much backwards and forth and headaches and challenges. If we think we have problems, look at the life of Avraham Avinu. That's what we have is nothing. Yes, we're looking at the end. that he was already happy and wealthy and kids and saw grandkids and great-grandkids. But just think of what this poor man is going through. The man is 100 years old and he's required to go and sacrifice his son. Can you imagine what's going on in his mind? It was a 3-day walk. Just imagine what's going on in his mind. Now, imagine after that. Can you imagine the relief? He's already in his mind going to bury his son. Now he's like, everything is reversed. He's like, Baruch Hashem, another one. As he's coming back from the Akedah, just imagine what's going on in his mind. He's already picturing the wedding. There's going to be a wedding. He got an SMS message that Milcah gave birth to Nahor, and Nahor gave birth with Milcah to Betuel, and Betuel gave birth to Rivka. Oh, he got a text message. Hey, she was born. So he's already, wow, there's going to be a wedding. I'm going to do it in this hall. We're going to have beautiful flowers. Yitzchak, what colors do you want there? What do you want the theme? You want it blue? You want it silver? And he's already picturing the wedding of Yitzchak and Rivka, and then how they're driving off with a nice limousine, and just married, those cans, and he has all in his mind. Then he's already picturing grandkids running around, and he's holding them, and then he comes home, and what does he find out? His wife passed away. Just imagine what's going on in this poor man's mind. Yes, last week, if you remember, we talked about that the hardest part of the challenges of Avraham Avinu was to deal with the disappointments. Because Avraham Avinu got promised something, and it was taken. He gets promised by Hashem, and Hashem takes it. And Hashem promises, I'm going to give you kids, and He doesn't. I'm going to give you wealth, He takes it away. Avraham Avinu was constantly tested, but the ultimate test that Avraham Avinu had to face is the disappointment. How many times you feel you get a challenge in your life, and the challenge is to deal with the disappointment. You go on a date, you go on 2 dates, 3 dates, you fall in love, you say, that's it, that's going to be the husband. And then it doesn't work out. And then chas v'shalom, and not need to give too many examples. You invest so much money and time in a business, you're already dreaming of that beautiful penthouse in the Ferrari, and the business goes down the drain. And how many times we get something into our life, and we get all excited, and boom, and it gets taken away. Now deal with the disappointment. The disappointment is a very hard challenge to deal with. And Avraham Avinu had to deal constantly with disappointments. So finally he comes back from the Akedah, he's all happy and excited, another bad news, straight to the face. You know what a different person would do? A different person would be angry. Dai kvar, enough. I just came from the Akedah. Who was required to do such a thing? Die, enough already with all this nonsense. You would think that Avraham Avinu would go, cuckoo, stop with this already. Now I finished one challenge, now my wife, I wanted to take Yitzchak down the aisle with my wife, not him being an orphan. So you would think that Avraham Avinu would lose it, or would be angry, or be disappointed. Now more than that, it never ends with Avraham Avinu. You know that the land belongs to him. He has to go now, and excuse my language, kiss tuchis for Bnei Chet and Ephron to get the land and pay for it. It belongs to him. Avraham Avinu owns the land. For now, there's somebody else occupying the land. Just imagine the frustration. I own this land, somebody's on the land, and I have to now somehow buy them off. So Avraham Avinu is still content. He's holding his anger, he's holding any type of emotion, he's okay, fine. What is Avraham Avinu showing us here? The ultimate midah that is called Midat Anava, being humble. Midat Anava is not that you shy, or that you hold yourself as a nobody. Midat Anava is that you understand that you don't deserve anything. Moshe Rabbeinu was the top of the top, but Avraham Avinu was one of the greatest also in Midat Anava. And Midat Anava, look at two giants like Avraham Avinu and Moshe Rabbeinu. The Midah of Anava, of being humble, what Avraham is showing here is that I don't complain in life. You know why? Because I probably don't deserve it. Now, if you have it in a very healthy way, sometimes people think that they deserve everything. And if they don't get what they think, what they want, then they get upset. Either at Hashem, either at the person who did it. We constantly think that we deserve everything. We don't deserve nothing. Who says you deserve something? especially Avraham Avinu, he doesn't get upset. Why? Because he says, okay. He's not a complainer. He doesn't complain because he says, okay, I must not deserve it. Probably I don't deserve that. So, what's interesting here is that it says in the Talmud, you can find it in the tractate Baba Batra, where it's talking about the whole story about the Akedah. It says that here Avraham Avinu broke the Satan. The Satan was constantly going against Avraham Avinu. After this part, not the Akedah, after the dealing with the death of Sara, that's it, Avraham won. The Satan says, I give in. I can argue with this guy. Every time he has the upper hand. So it says it very clearly in the Talmud that Avraham Avinu crushed the devil in this part. And the Torah is basically wanting to teach us here something very, very deep and profound. It wants to teach us the selfness, the bitul of Avraham Avinu. The Midat Anava, that he says, okay, I don't deserve it, let's move on. And this is something that, this is the external part of what we want to learn from this whole transaction, is that I have to be humble and understand that if Hashem gives me something, that's a great reward. And if I don't get something, I'm probably the problem. I'm the one who doesn't deserve it. And it's not only between me and Hashem. How many times I have expectations from people? From my spouse, from my boss, from my neighbors. And the best is just not to have expectations. You don't have expectations, you're not going to suffer any disappointments. And even if something bad happens, then you should say, okay, I wasn't worthy enough. I'm not supposed to get it. So, here, the first thing that we want to take from that is the level of bitul, what is called selfness, of Avraham Avinu, that he's totally humble in front of the Kadosh Baruch Hu. Lesson A. Now let's go back to the original question that we asked. Why is Avraham Avinu so particular and demanding to pay for the piece of land? Just take the land. He could easily come and say, listen, the Master of the universe promised it to me, the land belongs to me, I'm giving you 60-day notice, please move away, it's mine. He could easily do that, and there wouldn't be any argument here. Everybody was afraid of Avraham Avinu. Who would argue with Avraham Avinu? The old man goes to war with 4 kings and he wins them all. Everybody saw in front of their eyes that Hashem is walking with Avraham Avinu. Nimrod throws him into the fire and he walks out of the fire like, stinks here, what is this? So everybody was afraid of Avraham Avinu. He wouldn't have any issue coming to Ephron and telling him, I'm giving you a 14-day notice, vacate the place. But nevertheless, Avraham Avinu says, no, I demand to pay. Why? What is this whole idea? Avraham Avinu pays for the cave and for the land. He didn't only buy the cave, he bought the land around it for one reason: to disconnect them from the property, to get them completely out of this property. He didn't want any connection between Bnei Chet or Ephron to the land itself. Once you make a transaction, that's it. You don't have any possession, any chazakah over it. And he wanted to completely disconnect them from having any type of possession from that piece of land. I'm not talking about right now that he saw in Ruach HaKodesh that this land is ours and this place is sacred. There are 3 places in the world that nobody can argue if it's ours or not, because we have a receipt that we actually bought it. We're going to talk about it very soon, because we have Ma'arat Hamachpela, we have the Har HaMoriah, the place of Bet HaMikdash, David HaMelech bought it. And we also have Shechem, the Kever Yosef. Yaakov bought it. These are 3 places that we have a receipt. Sorry to tell you, I bought it. No arguments here. He can argue about anything else. So I'm not talking right now.
Of course, the world does argue with it.
They can argue as much as they want, but nevertheless. And Bet HaMikdash, Har HaMoriah. We're going to talk about it in a second. I'm going to go into the Midrash, where we find that. But nevertheless, Avraham Avinu was not only looking at the future, that he wants to hold possession of the land. Avraham Avinu wanted to completely disattach any ties from Bnei Chet and Ephron from the actual land and the cave. And like I said before, this exact same thing what David HaMelech did with Bet HaMikdash. The land where Bet HaMikdash is, what is called Har HaMoriah, you can go to the book of Shmuel. This can be found in Shmuel Bet. This is not a Midrash. And it says that at some point David HaMelech was already king, business was going very well, everything was great prosperity. And David HaMelech got a little bit of okay, let's when you have a lot of things, you want to count it. You have a lot of money, you like counting it. You have a lot of diamonds, you like looking at it. You have a lot of property, it's like you call the lawyer. How many properties are we owning here? 5,000 apartments. I met a man not too long ago that is very, very big businessman, owns a lot of types of businesses, but one of his wealth, he owns like 5,000 apartments in Los Angeles, in Vegas, in different places. Over 5,000 apartments. Just imagine what's coming in every month just from rent. Not talking about the value, and he buys everything cash. No mortgages here. So, and you know what? And I know the grandson. So there is a certain individual that is in charge to give reports all the time. And sometimes, how many apartments do I own? He wants to know. You would think that somebody says, okay, 5,000, 4,800. Who cares? I'm getting $5 billion dollars a month. Who cares? But nevertheless, you have a lot of property. You like counting it and know what you own. David HaMelech says, let's count what we have. Okay, there was a general. His name is Yoav. He says, not a good idea, David. Not a good idea. He says, no. David HaMelech says, I want to know what we have. Yoav says, listen, you know the Torah doesn't allow us to count people. It's good. It's not good. It's going to give ayin hara. This is not good for business. Nevertheless, David HaMelech says, I want to know what we have, and they count, and they found whatever amount it says there. I don't remember, 500,000 soldiers, 100,000 soldiers, don't remember. We wanted to show off, I have a big army. It's like today, now all the armies, they're showing their might, so everybody's advertising. We have so-and-so jets, we have so-and-so amounts of I don't know what, submarines, we have such amount of missiles. So, David HaMelech wanted to know, and not only counting how many soldiers, also what's going on in the kingdom, and unfortunately, like you have said, Magifa, plague started, and all the soldiers started dying, one after the other. At some point, David HaMelech is running in the street, Hashem, okay, chatati, aviti, pashati, I made a sin, but okay, I got the point. How do I stop the plague? Till the soldiers stop dying. Comes a prophet, Yavgad, and he tells David HaMelech, you should sacrifice a korban, and take an animal and give it as an offering to Hashem. Okay, there wasn't a Bet HaMikdash then. David HaMelech says, where should I do it? So the Navi tells him, take this animal and go, there's a certain backyard, somewhere in Yerushalayim. There's a certain individual that owns this piece of backyard. His name is Ornan HaYevusi. There's different places that called him different, but nevertheless, this prophet tells David HaMelech, go to his backyard and do the altar over there. Okay, David HaMelech comes, knocks on the door, Shalom, I'm David, I'm the king, can I rent your backyard? What? Tells him, can I get your backyard? I want to build an altar here and sacrifice. Tells him, take it, you're the king. David HaMelech says, no, I'm buying it. How much do you want? Like, I don't want to sell it. You can take it. It's yours for you to keep. David HaMelech says, no, I will give you 50 shekels. And he bought it for 50 shekels. Of course, not the shekels that we have now, but he bought it. 50 shekels was a lot of money. David HaMelech buys the land, builds the altar, sacrifices the animal, the plague stops, but nevertheless, we own the land. David HaMelech later on, of course, found out that this is the place where Bet HaMikdash will be built. This is years later, when he was looking for where to build Bet HaMikdash, then he found out that the place that he bought, that will be Bet HaMikdash. And like I said before, the same thing happened with Kever Yosef. Kever Yosef, the tomb of Joseph, is placed in Shechem. And Yaakov Avinu also, it says, Yaakov kanach elkat sadeh. It says that this is in the Torah. It says that Yaakov went and bought this piece of land. He knew that later on, they'll bring the bones of Yosef and bury him over there. So we have 3 places, holy places in the land of Israel, that we have a receipt that we bought them. There is a story going back to Ma'arat Hamachpela, because Ma'arat Hamachpela is one of the most holiest places in the world. We have Adama and Chava buried there. We have Avraham and Sara buried there. We have Yitzchak and Rivka, and we have Yaakov and Leah. And needless to say, you said before, how much argument is going over this piece of land. But besides that, we owned it. This is a very special place. The Zohar says that Ma'arat Hamachpela is the gate of Shamayim. All the souls that go up to Shamayim, they go through Ma'arat Hamachpela. The Zohar explains, thank you so much, the Zohar explains that any person that dies then this doesn't matter where they're from, where they are in the world. The soul will go to Ma'arat Hamachpela, and through Ma'arat Hamachpela they go up to Shamayim. And every soul, before it goes up to Shamayim, it goes through Ma'arat Hamachpela, and they see Adam HaRishon. Adam HaRishon is there. The Zohar goes and explains exactly how, why, what, and when. But Ma'arat Hamachpela is a very powerful place. There is a place in the Talmud that explains that also Esav wanted to be buried there. And because he knew exactly what does it mean to be buried there. The story says that when Yaakov died, I mean this is a few weeks from us, we're going to learn how Yaakov Avinu is in Mitzrayim, he dies, then they get permission from Paro and they all take Yaakov back to Canaan. The story says that the sons of Yaakov are all carrying the coffin and they're coming into Ma'arat Hamachpela to do the burial. And who do they find? They find Esav on a horse with a sword and a whole army behind him. And what's going on? Uncle Esav, we didn't see you in the last couple bar mitzvahs. Where were you? What are you doing here? You came to say goodbye, to bury your brother, to say give your last respects? We don't remember getting any birthday cards from you in the last, 80 years? So he tells them, I'm sorry to tell you, you're not burying my brother here. It's my piece. It's my grave. Telling him, hey, Esav, with all due respect, this place belongs to our father, to Yaakov. He tells them, no, belongs to me. I'm the older one. I am the Bechor. This belongs to me. This is where I'm going to be buried. You bury him outside. They tell him, Esav, Habibi, we have a receipt. We have the document. Because when Yaakov bought from you the Bechorah, the firstborn, in the document was included the piece of burial. So he says, oh yeah? Show it to me. So tell him, are you out of your mind? It's in the safe back in Mitzrayim. What do you think, we're traveling with documents? He says, you're not going to show me the document, I'm not letting you in. No problem. So they send Naphtali back to Mitzrayim. Go get the document. In the meantime, stands a young man there. His name is Chushim. He was the son of Dan, the tribe Dan. He's known as Chushim ben Dan. Unfortunately, he was a mute and he was deaf. Now he's standing there. He doesn't hear what's going on. There's not the person that goes like that. So he's standing there and he just sees his grandfather. The coffin is on the floor and he sees this mean man that he never met going like this and like that, and all of a sudden he sees an argument and there's no translation yet. He doesn't read the lips. He gets upset. He takes out a sword and cuts Esau's head off. And the head gets disattached from the body and rolls into the cave and stops on the place where Yaakov is supposed to be buried. So the Gemara tells us that the head of Esav is buried with Yaakov and the body is buried outside. So really in Ma'arat Hamachpela there are 9 graves. There is a version that says he didn't cut his head off, that he just hit him with a stick and the head got disattached. But nevertheless, he got upset. What are you doing? You're delaying the burial? He didn't understand what's going on there. But nevertheless, based on the Talmud, then Chushim ben Dan got upset, killed him, and the head of Esav is also in Ma'arat Hamachpela. So, when you want to look at the simple explanation about the value of Ma'arat Hamachpela, we know this is a very sacred place. It's a very holy place. It's a very unique and one-of-a-kind place that everybody wanted to get buried there. So we understand that Avraham Avinu also said, I'm not giving it up. I'm going to pay whatever I need to get it. This is the pshat here. The simple part was why Avraham Avinu was so particular with getting the land. He was also, like I told you, he was afraid that Ephron will tell him, I'm sorry to tell you, I want 100,000. Or how many times somebody wants to buy a property and the seller says, I don't want to sell it to you, I want to hold it. Avraham Avinu says, I'm not going to waste any time here for Sara. The body has to go into the ground. I'm buying the land. Okay, this is the simple explanation. But there's also a more deeper explanation why the transaction and why the Torah is so particular. We all know there's a saying from our sages that says, Kesef ze chayei hanefesh. Money is the life of the nefesh. Without money in this world, you have nothing. And even the Talmud says that a person that doesn't have money, a poor person, is considered dead. And needless to say that how can I do anything in this world if I don't have money? So we do have the teachings of our sages that says that money is the life of the nefesh. Now, when I spend money on something, I'm talking about something normal, I'm not talking about a cake right now. When I spend money on something, I take part of me and I invest it in what I spend the money on. And I take something out of myself. Now, Be'ezrat Hashem, my first boy, not first child, is very soon is going to be a bar mitzvah, Be'ezrat Hashem. He's already planning the bar mitzvah from when he was 3 years old. So he's already telling me, when are we buying the tefillin? So he's right. Even though the bar mitzvah is months down the line, but you want a good pair of tefillin, you have to go to the right scribe, and you're not buying a shirt, you're buying tefillin. This is an investment. You know why? He's going to wear these tefillin for the rest of his life. So you invest now, the right parchment, the right ink, the right intention of the scribe, you invest a lot of money. A good pair of tefillin, it can cost thousands of dollars. And when you buy such a thing, when I remember when I bought my tefillin, it was thousands of dollars I spent on my tefillin. The most expensive you can find, the best leather, the best ink, the best parchment, the best scribe. But it's for my life. It's for the rest of my life. And not only that, this is one of the most important things for me every day I put tefillin on. So when I purchase such a thing, it's not only writing a check. It's a piece of me goes into this transaction. A piece of my nefesh goes there. Hold on, if you don't mind, we'll go through the class, then we'll do the questions. So Avraham Avinu wanted to give Sara the utmost respect. He admired her. He adored her. It wasn't just a regular wife. He said, I'm giving her, it's the last thing I can give to her. So I'm giving her the best of the best of the best, and she's going to be buried in Ma'arat Hamachpela. There wasn't a commandment for that. There wasn't any prophecy that all the forefathers have to be buried in Ma'arat Hamachpela. But Ma'arat Hamachpela was such a prize. It was the jewel of the ground, the jewel of property, and he says, for Sara, I'm giving the best. Why? Because she was so unique, so special, I'm giving the most out of me to her. That's why he's willing to pay a lot of money. Now, just imagine the separation between Avraham and Sara, what they went through. Can you imagine how many years they were married? If she was 127 when she died, let's say they married, even though the Talmud says in Tractate Sanhedrin that she married him very young, kind of like Yaakov, like Yitzchak and Rivka. Rivka was now married when she's 3 years old. So the Talmud says that Sarah was married also very, very young. There's an age difference of 10 years between Avraham and Sarah. We don't know exactly when they got married, but again, the Talmud in Sanhedrin says that Sarah was married very, very young. So they're married at least 100 plus years. And what they went through. Can you imagine the farewell, the separation, the goodbye now between Avraham and Sarah? So he feels the separation, even though Avraham Avinu says this is just the body, the soul will continue going. But nevertheless, Avraham Avinu wants to give part of him to this farewell. And this teaches us something very profound. If you don't pray, you're not really connected. You get something for free, you don't acquire a connection here. When you pay, when you take money out of your pocket, you invest. Sometimes it's 30 years of savings. Sometimes you buy a property or certain thing with all your money. You invested here. And this comes to teach you that if you don't pay for something, you're not connected to it. It's not yours. There's no stronger connection. And usually a person will spend money for really what's important to them. Some people, they have an issue that they'll just spend money on anything. But most people, what will they spend money on? On something very, very important. They're not going to throw their money on some vacation. They'll say, no, the money will go to education of my kids. It's going to go for investing into a property that I'll have money, some type of an income when I grow up, whatever it is. Most people, they spend their money, their best of their money on something that is extremely, extremely important to them. And this comes to teach us something also very deep and profound, that nothing in the world, in this world comes easy. If something comes easy, as they say, easy come, easy go. Things in this world come with a lot of hard work, with a lot of sweat, with a lot of tears, with a lot of blood. Avraham Avinu found the secret. And the secret is that when you give, that's when you get. You don't give, you're not going to get anything. If you want to take something, you have to give. You can't just take it. Not only that, he found another secret. Whenever you invest, that's when you you, I don't know, you say bear the fruit, you enjoy the fruit, you get back the pleasure when you really invest. You invest in the education of your kids, you'll enjoy it one day. You invest in your own education, you'll benefit from it. Reap the benefits. You invest in your marriage life, you'll reap the benefit. Anything you will invest in, you'll get back. You don't invest, you're not going to get nothing. So Avraham Avinu gives us two profound lessons here. A, whenever you give, that's when you're going to get back. Whenever you're going to invest, that's where you're going to enjoy. We need to look for where is it hard work. Our nature is to look for where it's easy. Give me the easy job. You know, always when I give my kids jobs, one of them always tells me, give me what's the easiest. Give me what's the easiest. You want to know what's the hardest. We constantly need to look in our life, what's the hardest? Why? Because that's where I'm going to get the most. And it says, when a person looks for hard work, it's a remedy for arichut yamim, for a long life. Where do we learn that? Because the book of Mishlei says, Soneh matanot yichyeh. A person who hates gifts will live long. And when a person constantly wants to get for free, that's a remedy for a short life. But when a person says, I don't need help, I don't need your charity, if you need it, great, fine, but I don't need presents, I'm going to do it myself. This is a remedy for a long life. It says in the Talmud, can be found in Tractate Kiddushin. Very interesting story. You know, sometimes the Talmud is teaching you very straight out halacha. Sometimes people can say the Talmud is extremely boring. But sometimes the Talmud gives out stories out of nowhere. You read a certain sugiyah, out of nowhere, suddenly there's a story. There is a story in Tractate Kiddushin, can be found in page 19. It says about a very, very big rabbi. He was an Amora. His name was Rav Gidel. He wanted to buy a piece of land. He was into business. Many of the sages were businessmen. He wanted to learn Torah all day long, so you need a business. He found a certain land and he put his eye on it. And he came, negotiated, they set the price, and he says, okay, I'm coming tomorrow with a check. Okay. He didn't do anything, he just said, I'm coming tomorrow. That night, another great Amora, his name is Rav Abba. He comes that night, he also saw the sign of property for sale. He was like, oh, I have some extra money. He goes to the same landlord at night, he sees the property, how much do you want? They close the deal and he gives the money on the spot. Closes the deal. Okay, the next day comes Rav Gidel and he says, okay, let's do the transaction. The owner says, what are you talking about? Somebody came last night and bought it. Somebody came last night? Why didn't you keep it for me? He's like, keep it for you. Would I owe you anything? You didn't say anything. You just said, I'm coming tomorrow to get it. Somebody came, put money on the table, I gave him the property. Rav Gidel says, who's this person that just somehow got there in front of me? He says, a very great rabbi, Rav Abba. Rav Abba? Rav Abba took the property? I can't believe it. This is against halacha. He says, well, listen to, I don't know, the owner says, I'm not a great sage, I don't know anything about halacha, I'm just telling you, he came at night and got it. Rav Gidel gets very upset, he says, this is against halacha, he's not allowed to do such a thing. Okay, what do you do when there's a problem in halacha? You go to the Rav, you go to the above Rav. Okay, there were two Amoraim, so they go. There was a head rabbi above them, Rav Yitzchak Nafcha. And Rav Gidel goes to Rav Yitzchak Nafcha and he tells him, listen, he doesn't go and says right away, Lashon Hara, and says, listen, Rav Abba came at night and he took the land. He comes and tells him, Ma hadin ani b'mehapech becharara. What is the din? He's coming and asking him a law. What is the din when somebody comes and he knows somebody else wants to buy a property and he buys that? So he tells him, you're not allowed to do such a thing. There's a halacha. If I know that you want to buy this property and you're working to get a mortgage or you fundraising, whatever, and I know you want this property, I'm not allowed to go and buy it. That's against halacha. You can take me to Beit Din and I will, and you will win. So Rav Nafcha says, okay, listen, I can't believe Rav Abba would do such a thing, but you know what? Very soon is the holidays, is the month of Tishrei. He's going to come to me. I will approach him and I'll ask him, what's the deal? Anyways, Rav Abba comes to him, to Rav Nafcha, and that's his rabbi. He comes, visit him. He also now comes with a nice donation. And he tells him, tell me, what's going on with that land that you bought? It was a good deal. I just wanted to invest. He says, do you know that Rav Gidel wanted that land? You're not allowed to do such a thing. He's like, oh, I didn't even know. Nobody told me. I didn't know. I would never do such a thing. It didn't say anything. The landlord that sold it to me didn't tell me there's another buyer. I just walked in. I saw a sign. He told me, give me so and so. I pulled out the money. I did the transaction. I will never do such a thing. Okay, so now what do we do? So they call back Rav Gidel. What do we do now? Now Rav Abba owns the land. He's like, I don't want it. It's yours. I don't want it. Take it for free. So Rav Gidel says, I'm not taking anything for free. I don't want this land. So now what's going on? This land was deserted for years. Why? Because Rav Abba says, I didn't know. I would never do such a thing. I don't want this land. There's no bracha in this land. Now there is a law that the first property you buy is not good to sell. And Rav Abba says, what should I do now? It's not good to sell the first property. So Rav Abba says, you know what? I don't need the money. Baruch Hashem, I have enough money. I'm giving the property back to Rav Gidel. Free, take it and enjoy it. It's yours. Rav Gidel says, I'm very sorry to tell you. I don't want to get presents. I didn't buy it. So neither one of them was holding the land. For years the land was just deserted till some smart yeshiva, head yeshiva came, took the land, built a yeshiva on it. That's the end of the story. But the point is that you see two sides here. Rav Abba says, this is against halacha, there's no bracha in this transaction, take it, I don't want it. But more important, we see how Rav Gidel says, he could go and get the land for free. I don't want it. I didn't buy it, I didn't acquire it. A person that hates to receive things for free, has a long life. So we see from this that Avraham Avinu doesn't want presents. I don't want you giving me any presents. I'm owning this. Avraham Avinu wants to give the last respect, the honor to Sara, and he goes and he buys the kever, the grave, for a lot of money. I would think that I'm just throwing an amount, don't take it as a source, but it will be as equivalent to $400 million in our day of age. That's what was 400 shekels. David HaMelech bought the Har HaMoriah for 50 shekels. So just imagine 2,000 years before that. So I'm kind of thinking that he bought like a little piece of land for $400 million. That's it's not a currency. I'm just saying how huge it was. And Avraham Avinu didn't have a problem. He was worth billions. But nevertheless, when you're looking for something, for easy life, I don't know if you say it in English, in Hebrew you say Chaim Kalim, 10 Chaim Kalim, maybe in English it doesn't sound well, easy life, but when you're looking for your life to be easy, at the end you don't get anything. When you're looking for hard work, that's when you earn everything, that's when you acquire everything, that's when you own it. And this is in everything, not only in a business transaction, in anything. Anytime you put hard work, you toil, you invest, the result will be that this is what's going to bring results. Whether it's within your health, in relationship, your marriage, education of your kids, anything. In any situation that you're going to invest, you'll see results. And if you're looking for the back door for easy way out, there's not going to be results. Not only that, it's the same thing even in a mitzvah. That, now we just celebrated Sukkot. Everybody goes and buys an etrog. Some people buy a etrog for 20 shekels. Some people are looking for expensive etrogs. I was once in a store, and a young man walks in. He looks, first of all, young. Needless to say, don't know him personally, but I knew he's studying in what's called a kollel. Kollel is that you don't have money, you still learn Torah all day long, and you get paid a little bit. And he says, I want a certain type of a etrog, a very expensive etrog. It's called Calabria. This is a special breed. The seller tells him 600 shekels. 600 shekels? I'm like listening and observing, and the guy takes out his wallet, pulls out 600 shekels, gives the money, takes the etrog. You see the value of a mitzvah. And I overheard another person says, are you out of your mind? You're giving this guy 600 shekels for a lemon? Looks like a lemon. For a etrog, 600 shekels? You know what he answered him? I'm not giving the owner of the store 600 shekels. I'm giving God 600 shekels. So even when it comes to a mitzvah, an etrog, a beautiful mezuzah, tefillin, whatever it is, You're not giving the person the money. You're giving Hashem the money. You give a lot of effort, a lot of investment. I'm invested here. It came out of my kishkes, this money. So, to conclude, we see many different lessons that we just went through the last hour. But the most important that one can take is that we have to be invested in everything. You know, today, somebody sent me an interesting question. Going back to that video that I loaded last week, a video online. Sorry, I was teaching it in the morning, so I'll tell you very briefly. Last week, we loaded a video online, very short, maybe a couple minutes long. We have these WhatsApp groups where we post every day a short video, and there's a young man that he takes the videos, he cuts them, edits them, puts them on the WhatsApp group, and Baruch Hashem, they go on all the social media, very short videos. And the last week's video was, what is the role of the Gentiles in this world? And how the Gentiles are included in the redemption. And in the short video, I'm explaining that the Gentiles are part of the redemption. The redemption is not just for the Jews. The redemption is for the rest of the world. And a large amount of the population of this planet, 1/3, is going to be part of this redemption. I'm talking here about 2.5 billion people. I think they're just all going to throw all them to the ocean. Anyway, so in this little video, I'm saying how at some point of the redemption, everybody will become Jewish. There's not going to be such a thing as Jewish. Everybody is going to be one nation. And the nations, the Gentiles that will survive the redemption will become part of one nation. We're all going to be Jews. It's not going to be called Jews, but we're going to be one nation. Of course, that got a lot of response. How do you say such a thing? Very clearly, go to the book of Zechariah, chapter 2, verse 15. That's where it says it. The Kadosh Baruch Hu gathers all the nations together and makes them one nation. This is a clear prophecy at the coming of Mashiach. Anyway, so from that, I got all these questions. So one question that I got is, how am I guaranteed to be part of the redemption? What? It says in this same chapter in Zechariah that everybody has a part of the redemption. And the answer was, first of all, you should be happy that everybody should be part of the redemption. You shouldn't have hate towards another person who says, oh, I wish he's not going to be in. Why? Because he talked Lashon Hara about you? Because he slandered your name? Why would you wish for somebody not to be part of the redemption? You should wish for that person, even though he goes against you, to do tshuva. And he should also be part of it. But the answer was, the more you will invest, that's what you get. So you think the Kadosh Baruch Hu doesn't see what's going on here? The more you put in, that's what you get out. So it's not only surviving and being part of the redemption, it's where you're going to be positioned, how close you're going to be sitting next to Mashiach. So the point to take from here is, it doesn't matter in any area you're looking at it, don't look for an easy life. Avraham Avinu was not looking for an easy life. He was not looking for a way out or for a discount. He says, whatever I own, I want to own it. I want to sweat to it. So I like taking this profound message and applying it in everything in my life. People get married, and after half a year, I don't like him. What do you mean you don't like him? But half a year ago you were in love. No, he's this and he's that. What do you think marriage is, a walk in the park? Marriage is work. And then how many times I hear, whether it's a business partner or a business deal or with kids. Just the other day we had a guest on Friday who wants to get married. He's not young. And he saw my kids, Baruch Hashem, and at some point, not going to get into too many descriptions. One kid made her business on the floor. Another kid, she's young. She's not, you can't expect much. But, he sees me cleaning the urine from the floor, and one kid is this, and one kid is this, and kids, you can't be sitting with a suit with the kids. So when I first got married, my suits were clean. Now, here's the dirt, here's people tell me you have a stain here, oh, that's kids' breakfast. And so, when I got married, if like it was a speck of dust on my suit, it would be hyperventilating. Now, things fall on my suit, it's like, anyways, in the afternoon it will be dirty, more dirty. So you have little kids, it's not an easy task. And he was looking and he's like, I'm having second thoughts about this whole marriage thing. So what do you think marriage is, that you just walk into the sunset holding hands and love birds are around you? This is in theory. Marriage is hard. A lot of hard work, you have to invest a lot of time, a lot of patience, a lot of thought and effort. And then kids, you have 30 years that, I'm sorry to tell you, excuse my language, you're wiping tuchuses, you're doing a lot of things that are not so great. So, but that's an investment here. And not only that, you think you just sure. Today, unfortunately, in our generation, parents, what they do, they take the kid, they put the kid in front of a screen. The kid is like this, and just be quiet. This is, you're not investing in your child. What's going to come out of the child? Nothing's going to come out of that child when you're gluing him to a screen. I was not glued to a screen. My man would sit down and play with me and teach me, and I wasn't thrown in front of a screen. So anything in this world, I'm just giving some examples, can be marriage, can be kids, can be education, can be relationship, business, and needless to say, my relationship with Hashem. You don't invest, you're not going to get nothing. That's how it is. This is the message, and Avraham Avinu wants to teach us that you want something good, you pay for it. You know, just today, something happened, it was very funny. I was like connecting everything that happens in my life to what's going on in the Parasha. And today I went to the mikveh, I take my clothes off, and I open my belt. And I'm looking at the belt, and I bought this belt maybe 2 months ago. And I see already the leather is already starting to fall apart, the buckle is already, and I was like, look at this piece of junk. I bought that cheap somewhere in some outlet, and it's not maybe 2 months, it's already the belt is falling apart. 20 years ago, when I was much, much younger, before I was married, before I was even observant, I had a lot of money. So all my stuff was very, very expensive. I had beautiful designer clothes. You know, up until today I have some of that. So once I bought a very, very expensive belt. It was then extremely expensive, that normal people say, who spends hundreds of dollars on a belt? It was a designer name, but nevertheless, you know that belt, I had it for 20 years. 2 months ago, finally the belt said, okay, I had enough, and it ripped. And this belt I bought for, I don't know, what, $20. After 2 months, the belt is worthless. And I was like, look at that. Even in something so simple, something so small, in a piece of leather, in a belt, sometimes you invest a lot of money saying, well, why should I invest? Because you know what? It's going to last you for years. I have things that I paid top dollar for that. I have them for 10, 15 years, 20 years. And when you pay, you're looking for a bargain, it falls apart after a week. A few weeks ago, my boys, they wanted a watch. They went and bought a watch. They came back with a receipt. I said, how can it be so cheap? What, 20 shekels, 30 shekels a watch? It's a piece of garbage. And sure enough, it lasted about a week. So, same thing here. Everything in life, you invest, you put a lot of effort, a lot of money, you'll get back. You'll get a return. So just remember these two secrets that Avraham Avinu found, that when you give, you can take, you get. When you invest, you, how did you say? Reap the benefits. Take that to your life, apply that to your life would be much more successful, the surrounding around you will be much more happier, you'll be able to achieve much more, and needless to say that your goals will be met and your life will be much more valuable, much more profound, and needless to say that this is what Hashem wants us to do. This is the Olam HaAsiyah, the world of doing. Here you do. And don't look for an easy way out. Don't look for discounts. Don't look for freebies. Look to where I can give, where can I invest, where can I pay. You're not going to lose at the end. You are going to be the one who gains at the end. Have a beautiful rest of the week.